It's July, and somewhere down the street, your neighbor's garden is already dying. The tomatoes are stripped, the lettuce bolted weeks ago, and they've decided quietly, without even really thinking about it, that the growing season is basically over. So the beds sit empty, baking in the sun, doing nothing. But 2 houses down, someone else's garden is about to explode with growth. Samesun. Same soil, same July heat. Here's the difference. They know something the quitters don't. Right now, this week, your soil is the warmest it will be all year. A seed that took 2 weeks to sprout back in April. It's popping up in 4 or 5 days now. There's an entire second harvest sitting right in front of you, and most people are walking straight past it. I've got 21 vegetables you can still plant this month. Some are ready to eat in 3 weeks. Several of them actually get sweeter after the first frost instead of dying in it. And the one at number 1, it has a hard deadline. Miss it this week, and it's gone until next year. Let's get into it. 2 quick things. Then we start the countdown. First, the soil. Seeds don't read the air. They read the dirt, and right now, your dirt is as warm as it gets all year. Cucumber seed that sat 2 weeks in cold April ground. It pops up in 4 or 5 days now. Beans, beets, carrots, radishes, all of them. Faster. Second, the frost sounds backwards. But a lot of these crops actually get better after the first freeze. When the nights turn cold, plants like kale and carrots turn their stored starch into sugar. It's nature's antifreeze. You can't taste antifreeze. You sure can taste sugar. So here's your formula. Take your average first frost date, look it up by zip code. 10 seconds. Count back the days to maturity on the seed packet. Add 2 more weeks. Because fall days are shorter and everything slows down. That's your last safe planting day. A cheap row cover buys you a few weeks more. All right, let's start the clock. With the crops that are racing at hardest, you think your cucumber plants are done. They're not. They're just old. By mid-July, the vines you set in May are covered in white mildew. Production crawling to a stop. Most people quit right there. Instead, plant fresh seed now. At number 21, warm soil sprouts it in 4 to 6 days. And the young plant hits its stride in September, after the worst of August heat breaks, 50 to 70 days. Seed to harvest. Market More is the dependable standard. Diva sets fruit without needing pollination and never turns bitter. One tip matters more than any other here. Grow them up. Not out. Vines on the ground sit in still air. And that's exactly where mildew takes hold. Get them climbing a trellis or a fence, and the air moves freely around every leaf. Now, the crop that's broken more gardeners' hearts than almost any other. Ever watched a healthy zucchini plant wilt and collapse almost overnight? That wasn't disease. That was the squash vine borer, a moth that lays its eggs at the base of the stem in early summer. Up north, that borer gets exactly 1 generation a year, and the moths are done laying by early July. Plant zucchini now. At number 20, and it comes up after that window closes completely. Down south, that second generation hits in late August. So, a row cover is your better bet there. And here's a trick most people have never heard. Plant a couple of blue Hubbard squash at the edge of the bed. As a trap crop, the borers go for those first and leave your zucchini alone. Most people plant beans once, in spring, and figure that's it. That's not how beans work. In warm July soil, they sprout in 8 to 10 days and start producing in about 55, which puts fresh beans on your table in September. And fall beans are sweeter and more tender than the ones grown through summer heat. That's number 19. Bush beans. But this one has a hard deadline. Frost kills beans outright. 0 tolerance. So get them in early to mid-July. Provider is fast and reliable. One thing makes or breaks this planting: keep that seed moist the first week. July heat can dry the top inch of soil in hours. And a seed drying out mid-sprout is a seed that dies. This is the crop for the impatient. Number 18. Radishes. 3 weeks. Seed to harvest. Full stop. The fastest food in your entire garden, and fall is genuinely the better season for it. Summer radishes turn sharp and woody. Sown now. They mature into cooler weather and come out crisp. Mild. Almost sweet. A completely different vegetable. Cherry bell is your fast round red. The real trick here is restraint. Don't sow the whole packet at once, or they all mature the same week and go pithy. Sow a short row every 7 to 10 days instead, and you'll have a steady supply clear into fall. And last in this group, store-bought arugula is a pale imitation. That peppery bite starts fading within a day of cutting. Homegrown. It's sharp and alive. This is number 17. And it's fast baby leaves in 20 days. Full size in 40. And fall arugula is milder than the harsh bitter summer version. Astro is a fast, reliable standard. Watch for flea beetles. A row cover from the day you sow solves that. The tip, cut it young, 3 or 4 inches, with scissors, and leave the roots. It grows right back. And a little sown every couple weeks keeps you in peppery greens from late summer through fall. 5 down, 16 to go. And they only get better from here. This is the secret weapon of the fall garden. And most people have never grown a single thing in this group. Mustard, Mizuna, Tatsui. This whole family of fast Asian greens is built for exactly what we're doing right now. They're quick, cold hardy, and they taste better in cool weather. Try growing them in summer heat, and they bolt straight to seed. Plant them now. At number 16, and they mature into fall tender and mild. Instead, Mizuna is feathery and mild. Great tossed into a salad or a stir-fry. Tatsui makes these dark, spoon-shaped leaves and takes cold down near 15 degrees. Southern giant mustard gives you that sharp, cook-it-down green your grandmother probably grew. Flea beetles like these too, so a row cover earns its keep here as well. The tip: grow them 2 ways from one planting. Cut them young for a fresh salad, or let them grow up and cook them down. 1 packet. 2 completely different dishes. You've had bok choy in a stir-fry. You may not know, it's one of the fastest things you can grow for fall. If you plant it now instead of spring, here's the catch. Nobody mentions bok choy bolts when temperatures swing, which is exactly why spring plantings so often fail, but a summer planting maturing into steady plant. Cooling fall weather is the sweet spot. This is number 15. And baby bok choy is ready in 30 days. Full heads in 45 to 60. Count back about 50 days from your frost date. Slow bolt types like joy choy resist the problem entirely. Flea beetles and slugs come after it. So cover it. And here's the tip: you don't have to pull the whole plant. Snap off the outer stalks and let the center keep growing. Or cut the whole head an inch above the soil. It'll often resprout a second one for you. Turnips have an image problem. And it's a simple one. Almost everybody's only ever had a big, old, woody one. The right turnip, pulled young, is a completely different vegetable. This is number 14. And meet the hakare. A small, smooth, white Japanese salad turnip, ready in just 38 days. So sweet and crisp you eat it raw, like an apple. People who swear they hate turnips try one of these and can't believe it. Fall is when they're best. The cool weather sweetens them. And the flea beetles are mostly gone by then. They sprout fast, even in hot soil, and take cold down to about 20 degrees under mulch. Cover the bed from day 1 against root maggots, and harvest young. At 2 inches, let them get bigger. and the sugar turns back to starch. Small and sweet always beats big and bland. Most Americans have only ever had beets from a can. A beet pulled fresh and roasted the same day is a different food entirely. Earthy, rich, sweet, and fall cold concentrates that sugar even further. This is number 13. July beets take 50 to 70 days, landing you a sweet October harvest. Early wonder is fast. Detroit dark red is the classic for storing. And the showstopper is Kayaja. Slice it open and it's candy striped. Pink and white, like a bullseye. Two things make beets reliable. That seed is actually a cluster with a natural sprout inhibitor, so soak it an hour before planting. And in July heat, lay a board over the row to hold moisture, pulling it the second they come up. The tip: most people miss thin them. Each cluster sprouts several plants, and without thinning, they crowd each other and stay marble-sized. This is the big cousin of the salad radish, that long white root from the Asian market, and it's one of the smartest things you can plant in late summer. Number 12. Daikon. Takes 50 to 70 days. So mid-July into early August is ideal up north. Cool weather keeps it mild and crisp. Perfect for pickling or grating raw. It handles frost into the mid-20s, but a hard freeze turns it mushy. Sow, harvest, or mulch before deep cold hits. And here's where daikon does something nothing else on this list does: that thick root drills a foot down and punches through hard-packed soil. Farmers plant it just to break up compaction. The tip: as it grows, the top pushes up and can turn green and bitter. So just hill a little soil over the shoulder to keep it sweet and white. And closing out this group, carrots are the most complained about July planting. And it's always the same problem. The seeds are tiny, sitting in the top quarter-inch of soil. And in July, heat that layer dries out in hours before the seed ever has a chance. The fix is almost too simple. After you sow and water, lay a plain board or a piece of burlap flat over the row. It holds moisture and keeps the bed cool. Check every morning. And the instant you see green threads, pull it off. That one step, at number 11, makes July carrots reliable. And it's worth it. Because a carrot pulled after a frost is candy that cold turns the starch to sugar in a big way. 11 down, 10 to go. And this next group is where your garden really starts feeding you for months, not just weeks. Everybody loves homegrown lettuce, and everybody quits by July. Because summer lettuce bolts bitter and the seed won't even sprout in hot soil. But you can still grow it right now, you just have to outsmart the heat first. Here's the truth. Other videos skip entirely. Lettuce seed actually goes dormant above about 80 degrees. So there are two moves that work. Start seedlings in the shade, or indoors. Then transplant them out later. Or sow directly, but only in the cool of evening. After chilling the seed in the fridge for a few days, first, throw shade cloth over the bed. Keep it damp. And as fall cools things down, lettuce turns easy and sweet instead of bitter. This is number 10. And Muir is about the most heat-tolerant variety there is. Buttercrunch and black-seeded Simpson are reliable once it starts cooling. The tip that doubles your harvest: don't cut the whole head. Pick the outer leaves. Leave the center standing. And it keeps making more for weeks. Sow a little every week or two, and you'll be cutting fresh lettuce clear into fall. If lettuce is the diva of the garden, this next one is the workhorse. Swiss chard bridges summer straight through to fall without missing a beat. Here's what makes it different. Chard seed actually germinates best in warm soil, so July suits it perfectly. Then it just keeps producing through the heat, through the cooling fall, and right through the first light frosts. This is number 9. Baby leaves in 30 days. Full size in 55 to 60. And then months of harvest after that. Bright lights gives you stems in red, gold, and pink. Genuinely one of the prettiest things you can grow in a vegetable bed. Ford Hook Giant is the hardiest variety. I'll be honest, though chard takes a light frost fine, but it's not bulletproof like kale. And those colorful stems freeze first? Treat it as a fall green, not a deep winter one. The tip harvest cut and come again. Outer stalks first. And in the kitchen, treat the leaves and stems as two separate ingredients. The stems need a few minutes head start before the leaves go in. Now, real spinach. And I'll be straight with you here, because other videos oversimplify this one badly. Spinach is the hardest crop on this whole list to start in July, because it refuses to sprout in hot soil, past the mid-80s. The seed just sits there, doing nothing. So you work around the heat instead of fighting it. Either wait until late July or August, when the soil finally cools. Or pre-sprout the seed yourself. A damp paper towel in a bag in the fridge for a week, does it? Once it's sprouting, you plant those started seeds and skip the problem completely. Why bother with all that? Because spinach, at number 8, is the cold hardiness champion of greens. The crinkly Savoy types, Bloomsdale and Thai, survive down near 0 degrees under a simple cover. This is your overwintering crop. Sow it now. Harvest through fall. Cover it for winter. And the moment the ground thaws in spring, it explodes back and hands you the earliest greens of the whole year, weeks before anything else in your garden even wakes up. Fresh green onions. 10 steps from your kitchen. All fall and winter long. Once you've had that, you genuinely don't go back to store-bought. You can start cutting scallions in about 60 days. And here's the part that makes them special. They're basically perennial. Don't pull them. Snip the green tops an inch above the soil, and the base grows new ones back in 10 to 14 days. One planting. At number 7, keeps feeding you over and over. And the cold hardiness is remarkable. Evergreen hardy white survives down near 0 and overwinters without any trouble. One late summer sowing supplies scallions from fall right into spring. They don't even need much space. A 6-inch strip along the edge of a bed keeps a kitchen stocked. The tip is simply to lean into that cut and regrow habit. Treat the patch like a living pantry. Snip what you need, and it quietly refills itself. 7 down, 7 to go. And what's coming next is the reason this whole video exists, the crops that don't just survive the cold. They wait for it. Here's one you've walked past in the grocery store 100 times, without ever picking it up. That pale green or purple bulb that looks like something from another planet. Kohlrabi is a fast, underrated fall crop. And you actually eat the swollen stem, which grows into a bulb sitting right above the soil. Raf, it's crisp and sweet, somewhere between a broccoli stem and an apple. This is number 6. And it's quick for anything in the cabbage family, 45 to 60 days. Plant it now, and you'll fight fewer cabbage worms than a spring planting ever does. Frost tolerant into the low 20s. Purple Vienna and white Vienna are the classics. The one tip that matters here, harvest at 2 to 3 inches. Tennis ball size. That's the exact moment it's crisp and sweet. Let it get bigger. And the center turns woody. Smaller is sweeter. Every single time. Fall broccoli beats spring broccoli. Plain and simple. It matures into cooling weather instead of bolting. And it fights off fewer pests along the way. But I need to be honest about pulling this off this late because a lot of advice gets it wrong. In zones 5 through 7, your best move now. At number 5, isn't seed in the ground, it's transplants. Set them out by late July or very early August. And from a transplant, you're looking at about 55 to 70 days to a head. Give them afternoon shade and steady water while they settle in. Here's a variety tip that can double your harvest. Choose a side shoot type. Calabrese and DeChico keep pushing out smaller florets for weeks after you cut the main head. Broccoli takes a light frost just fine, and a little cold actually sweetens it. Cabbage is the dependable one of the family. Roundhead cabbage is the most cold hardy of all the head crops it holds through repeated frosts. and a cut head stores for months in a cool spot. For putting food by for winter. That's genuinely gold. Same honest note as broccoli applies here this late. In zones 5 through 7, use transplants, not seed. Set out a fast variety like Golden Acre now. At number 4, and the cool fall weather grows it up beautifully. For serious cold and long storage, January King takes a hard frost and just gets better. A few frosts sweeten cabbage and firm up the heads. The tip fall cabbage doesn't split and bolt the way spring cabbage does. So leave the heads right in the garden and cut them as you need them. Straight through the first hard freezes. It's a refrigerator that lives outdoors. Collards are the toughest leafy green there is. Tougher than kale. Hardier than chard. And they've earned their place on southern tables. For one simple reason: they feed you when nothing else will. They handle summer heat far better than kale does. So a July planting is no stress at all. This is number 3. About 60 to 75 days. And the first frost doesn't end them. It improves them. That starch to sugar trick runs even deeper in collards than almost anything else on this list. Georgia Southern is the classic heat tolerant, cold tolerant, and happy even in poor soil. Space them 18 inches apart, they get big. Harvest the outer leaves and let the center keep growing. And the old cooks will tell you the same thing every time: wait for a couple of frosts before the big harvest. That's when they turn genuinely sweet. If I could get you to plant just one thing this month, it might be this one. Because it's that easy, that productive, and it turns into its very best self right when the rest of the garden is dying around it. For kale, frost isn't the enemy. It's the secret ingredient. This is number 2. And kale is one of the most cold-hardy crops there is. Every gardener who's grown it knows the truth. Kale that's been through a few hard frosts is a different food. Sweeter. More tender. The bitterness completely gone. That's exactly why farmers' market vendors sell out of fall kale first. Winterbore is the curly type and the hardiest. Lacinato, dinosaur cal, is best for cooking. The tip harvests the outer leaves. Leave the crown standing. The plants turn into these leafy little palm trees and keep producing for months. Plant it now. And let the first frost make it the best thing in your entire garden. And now, number 1, the hard deadline, the one I promised you at the very start: fresh Brussels sprouts, cut from the stalk after a hard November frost, are a genuinely different vegetable from the freezer bag kind you grew up choking down. Brussels sprouts have the most dramatic frost sweetening of anything on this entire list, that cold turns their starch to sugar so completely that a frost-kissed sprout is nutty and sweet. Nothing like the bitter little things from your childhood. So while everyone else is dumping a frozen bag into boiling water, this Thanksgiving, you'll be the one walking out back and cutting a whole stalk you grew with your own hands. That moment alone is worth planting this week. Here's the honest part. Other videos get wrong. Brussels sprouts need a long season, 80 to 100 days, which is exactly why it's now or never. In zones 5 and 6, it's too late to start from seed. What you need this week is transplants. Set them out in early July. Count 90 to 100 days to frost. And you make it. Jade Cross is a faster, heat-tolerant variety. And the one pro tip, about 3 to 4 weeks before your first frost. Pinch out the top growing point. That stops the plant growing taller and pours all its energy straight into fattening the sprouts you've already got. Harvest from the bottom up. Wait for that frost and that's your stock of fat. Sweet sprouts. Sitting on the table this holiday season, 21 vegetables. And your garden is nowhere near done. An empty bed in July isn't rest. It's wasted ground, weeks of warm soil and long summer days. Handed right back to the weeds. While you hand your money to the grocery store this fall for food, you could have grown for the price of a seed packet. Most people quit in June. They miss all of it. You know better now. The soil's never warmer. the seeds never sprout faster. And half these crops turn sweet the moment the cold finally hits. You've got the formula count back from your frost date. Add 2 weeks. And let a row cover buy you a little more time. So pick one, just one, today, and get it in the ground. Beans and Brussels sprouts. If you want to beat the deadline, kale and carrots. If you want food that keeps getting sweeter into November, a row of radishes. If you just want to win in 3 weeks flat, this is how a backyard stops being something you mow and starts being something that feeds you clear into winter. Drop what you're planting first in the comments. Put your zone right next to it. I'll see you in the next one.